You're a perfect man. Got the whole world in your hands, but you still reaching out for me. Ooh, wow, why you love me too? I'm nothing like you. Opposite of holiness was what I was, but until you see my soul and couldn't see why. Held my hand high, cause you see I. And now I'm better and better. No longer what I used to be better. He's making me better. I'm starting a new thing. He's making me stronger. Yeah, yeah. Christ is in my.
It's your hunger, Rica Nadine, aka Nae Nae. And honey, we have a special quarantine edition guest here for you today, all the way from the UK, Dee Shy herself. I'm super excited about this interview, this fellowship, because this is not just an interview. Like, this is a fellowship. This is us reconnecting again. Because a lot of you, if you don't know, I went to the UK back in November. And I got to meet this woman of God personally. I got to sit down and talk to her and chit chat, but we didn't record it. So we back at it again and we're gonna record it. So, how are you?
I'm good. It's an honor to be on your show. It's an honor just to be speaking with you tonight, which is tonight in my time, but midday by you.
Right. So we're just gonna jump full-fledged in it. So you have a new single that came out, Crossroads. Video fire, everything about it fire. Where did the inspiration come from with the song Crossroads?
Okay. Okay. Went into the studio and started to record. And basically I was just sitting there and I says, I like that track. And I could hear the hallelujah. We had a chorus. If you listen to the chorus of the song, it's got hallelujah going through it. And I was writing and the crossroad just came. But to me, the whole track is you got to get to a crossroad in your life. You've got to get to a place where God is going to minister to you. We want this fast life. We want the broad way. We want the quick way. It's not going to be conducive for us. We have got to go through a process in life to understand that the Holy Spirit is ahead of us. Allow our flesh to die and allow Christ to rise in all things that we're doing and be led by the Holy Spirit. So my word for 2020 is we're all at a crossroad right now with the COVID-19, with everything that's happening. We have to make a decision in our life. What are we going to do?
Right.
So I've got nothing but love for you, you know, because Jesus is all about love and it's about spreading love. Right. I'm not into the malice. I'm not into anything like that. Realistically, you know, love can conquer a lot of things. Love can bring and break down a lot of barriers in race, religion, and even if you're falling out with your family, you tell someone you love them and their heart starts to go softens because it can receive the love. But first and foremost, you must learn to love yourself.
That's key. That's a good one. So, like I said, you guys need to go check out the video right now. I'm gonna have it linked. I'm gonna have it somewhere. It's gonna be posted somewhere, so you will be checking it out. I'm telling you, this one of God. That video, I don't know, it changed my whole perspective of 2020. Because, you know, like you said, Corona's out here, and now we have the Black movement, Black Lives Matters movement. So really, it really, in my opinion, set my mood for 2020. Like, the visual, I was like, period. This is my 2020, period. No matter what I see outside or whatever I see on social media, you know, I'm gonna meet you at the crossroad, period.
And to be honest, Nae Nae, I was a bit apprehensive because of all what was going on, and I questioned God, and I said, "Is it the right time?" But you see, God is a God of timing, of His order, not man's order. So with that, now it was on God's time, not my time, you know. So with that, it's all about trusting God, letting go, and trusting Him to the fullness. Stand on the ground that you know what you believe in, and understand that, you know what, you're either in or you're out.
Mm.
And to me, I'm in all the way.
Right.
He ain't brought me this far to leave me.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. So
Oh,
if you don't know, this woman of God has had other hits. God Give Me This. She's had an album come out and everything. So when did you know that God told you, you know, Dee Shy, let's go the rapping area, because you are a radio personality. You are on the radio as well. So when did
yeah.
God tell you, like, let's do rapping. Let's get you on a track and you spit some bars.
Okay. Okay. I started when I was very young, actually. Growing up in my teens. I was a backing dancer before I became a rapper. I was always influenced by hip hop in mainstream. And we used to spit bars and we used to go into rap battles and everything like that. And being a young girl, it was very mainly dominated in the young guys.
Mm.
And I remember one time, my friend, she pushed me into a circle because the guys were, doing a rap battle. And she goes, "Go on, Dee," pushed me right in the middle. And I was just there and they were looking at me like, "Well, come on then, let's see what you got."
All right.
So I just remember, your head just totally goes. And I just spat my bars. And from then, I didn't turn back because the original name, Dee Shy, I was shy until I picked up the mic.
Mm.
Um, I was a very shy girl, and when I came to God, I realized the shyness had to go. That wasn't of God. That was bounding me. That was holding me back. That holds a lot of people back, and it's a fear.
Mm.
And we broke the name down. I prayed about it, and I came up with dynamic sound honoring Yahweh.
Mm.
So everything that you do it to the capacity. You ask God to stretch you. You ask God to pull it out of you to the best and of excellence that you do. Everything that you do for God has to be your best. You
Mm.
can't give 50 and he wants 120.
Right.
So that changed me as a person and growing up. I've been on, mainstream stuff, and then it took a car accident for me to wake up and accept my calling.
Mm.
And
Wow.
then that's it. It was just like I started writing and trying to get out there. But it's like, as I said, there's always a time. I remember when Kurt Franklin and Donnie McClurky, Marvin Sapp was the time for me. Every time I'd listen to the tracks, I'd just be crying.
Mm.
So to say this, to say that, yes, hip hop for me, I loved hip hop. And in the gospel, there wasn't much room for the hip hop gospel then. But God has opened up many doors using different artists to, like Kurt Franklin, he took the gospel to another level.
I
You know,
agree.
God opened up the doors for him to kick off doors for people not to be bound in the church.
Mm.
When you come to Christ, you're free and you've got to use your gift. Don't bury it.
Mm.
You use it because someone else out there is dying and want to do something like you, but you're going to pull it out of them. And
Mm.
you've got to be bold and courageous and you've just got to do it because their life depends on what you're saying.
Mm.
It changes their life. And to me, I want to be a person that anytime you see me, or you may only meet me once, but I will be so effective and have an impact on your life that you know that God is talking to you.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
And trust me, this woman of God has changed my complete perspective, not only in ministry but in business. A lot of people don't know that she used to be a business owner as well, entrepreneur. So when she poured her wisdom into me as being a young entrepreneur, going up into the business world, I took it and I ran. I mean,
Come on. Come on.
being being a young entrepreneur is not easy. Things are changing. Business is always changing. So the
Yeah.
words of wisdom that you did give me has impacted my business, like, and my ministry, like, all over the board. But anyway, let me stop. Let me stop.
What I'm going to say is be a master what you do. It's a craftsmanship that you have to learn. And I will say it to you, and I will keep pouring into you, Nae Nae. You have to harness what God has given you. And when you harness it, it's like flying a kite. You take it to high altitude, just like an eagle, and then you start to soar in it. You own it. God has given you the authority to do all things. And when you start to speak into the atmosphere and you start to write the vision down, my gosh, God starts to open up and he starts to say, you know what? Well done, my child. Because what you're going to do is put everything to him and then you apply through prayer. Then you step and you walk out in faith. And yes, I had the height of my time in the nail industry and I went to America to learn it. And I watched and we became one of the best nail technicians in the UK. And that's when I got saved and it became a ministry, a place of a living water where women could offload, lay down their burdens, get delivered. It was phenomenal. It was an experience that nobody could take away. But God moved in that place. And, you know, you've got to be holding that flag and saying, this is what God has done in my life. You're not bragging and boasting. God himself is flexing his muscles in you and showing off his daughter. And I just hope, well, I know God is just going to catapult you to places you've never been. You're not just going to have your own business. You're going to be a franchise where people will buy your franchise. Come on now. You've got to think big. You got to think out the box.
Right. Come on. I got this.
Oh,
Wow.
gosh.
So how do you balance daily life, because you are a mother, how do you balance daily life and ministry, being a rapper, being an artist? How do you balance all that? And radio, you're on radio too.
Okay. There's an order. There's an order. First and foremost, you have a duty to your family. That's the first and foremost. Yeah. You never leave your house neglected. Your children come first, your husband, your family, they're first. God makes room. And then the radio came along as well as ministry. You know, ministry ain't full time. So you can work around the ministry and go out and minister, come back, doing the albums. You work, I work through the night. So I would go to work, come home, cook the dinner, make sure family's good. And then about 9 o'clock until 4 in the morning, I would go to the studio, come back, go to sleep, get back up, do the same thing again for a short period of time. And then when it came to the radio, that was another thing under my belt where I did like 2 hours a time. Then we went up to 3 hours. Then it was on 2 different radio stations. So then I do that twice a week. But God has strengthened me and he is just, as it says, he stretches you to the capacity that you can do. If you ask God for more, he's going to give you more. If you say stop, he ain't going to burden you with anything. And the most important is learn to delegate. You can't do it all. And you've got to learn to delegate. You have to learn to allow people to grow because you can't be, the overseer, the captain, the rower. You've got to allow people to grow in your ship so you can move aside so they can grow and be the captain and move up and then someone else comes along, and that's the most important. It's about passing the baton. I've trained some wonderful girls in my time and they've took their experience and gone on to own their own salons and do their own stuff. And that's what it's all about. We are stepping stones and we have to catapult people and allow them to put their mix on it and be who they need to be.
That's key. That's good. You're dropping gems on us.
Yeah.
So I didn't even ask you, how have you been during quarantine and all this?
Well, I've been doing a lot of cooking. My last son, obviously, they're not at school, so we've been baking, we've been cooking. He's been doing lasagnas, homemade pizzas, fried chicken, buffalo wings, carrot cake, you name it. We've been doing woodwork. He's even going to, he's got his own TV channel, so he's been doing that. And going to learn in the stock markets and trade. So he's a young man and I invest in my children to be entrepreneurs. They've grown with me and they've seen me do my businesses. And, I just want them to be them and do what they have in their heart of their desire, but trust God in every step that they do. The quarantine, yes, it's been challenging, but you have to use it to your advantage. And to me, the quarantine is about the earth is quiet for God to speak. We're so busy. We're so busy. I'm enjoying the time, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying family time. I'm a real family girl. You know, I'm not, you know, yes, I may be doing all this stuff, but some of it's at home. So, you know, even this evening, I've just come off the radio and I will be going back on as soon as I finish this interview.
Wow, you amazing. And I've been crazy thing, like I'm really not a cooker well, I can cook. It's just I choose not to because I'm like, okay, somebody can cook for me. But during quarantine, I've been learning like how to fry chicken, how to do like just picking up different hobbies. So after quarantine, it's like I'm really self-sufficient. Like nobody, there's nothing, I mean, there's always room to learn more and more, but it's like I'm leaving quarantine with more knowledge than I started with. So I think that's very key. A lot of people, I feel like a lot of people are using this quarantine as an excuse to like sleep or get rest and stuff. And I get it. Like, get your rest. Like, get your rest, sis. But you need to be learning. You need to be advancing as well. You need to be putting forth and working and grinding on what God has, you know, destined you to do.
Yeah, because when it's all over, you haven't done what God has given you the time to do. And it's very important. It's like, to me, it's like an open window, a porthole, where God's saying, in this time, I need you to plow the ground. In this time, I need you to put seeds in the ground because harvest is coming. And you really need to be working, you know, working the day, sleep at night. Very important to get the rest because your body needs to heal. And, you know, with the challenging times, what is going on? You really need to look after your temple. And if people don't understand that, it is the body, your human body. So you can, you know, because when they say, right, everyone can go back to work, people are going to forget how to go back to work because they've enjoyed their body being rested and recuperating from the stress. Yes, people are suffering with anxiety and depression because they've come out of their routine. It's a different cycle for them. But one thing I will encourage them, start a new hobby, do things that you should have done. If you need to do the power walk, go and do power walking. If you need to go and read that book that you've put back 5 years, go and pick it up. If you need to write a book, God has given you that. Use it as an opportunity, not as a time for I'm getting depressed. I'm suffering with anxiety. Yes, you may have all of that, but you know, God will pull you through. And yes, it is a challenging time because financially people are struggling. People have lost their job. People are losing their homes. But you know, I encourage everyone to hold on. And you know, I'm going to have to bring it in. We're all at a crossroads. Yeah. You're laughing, but yeah, we're all at a crossroad and we've got to make the decision. Do we look left, look right? Yeah. And it's very important. God is doing something. You can actually sit outside and it's silence, it's quiet, it's beautiful. You can hear the birds singing. I get up at like 4 in the morning or 5 to have my devotion, and it's beautiful. There's a stillness. And I think that was in one of the films, I Am a Legend. Will Smith says, or whoever, he said, you can actually hear God speak now.
Wow. Wow, I'm speechless. So I don't want to mention this because I try not to be so controversy, but I feel like it's the perfect time to mention it because we are at the height of, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement, and we are both, you know, Black. We're Black. So how do you feel, and what are your insights on the Black Lives Matters movement?
I've been talking all week for the last 2 weeks. I've kept quiet, not silence, but it's kind of stunted me. It's affected me because all I've been doing is crying. I'm going to keep it real. It's hurt me so much because, you know, my mum is white, my dad is black. I'm a mixed race, you know, inheritance, however you look at it. And when I, you know, there's no, to me, it's one big human race. I can't believe that some other human being has had pleasure of killing someone and not even blinking, continuing for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, has took a life. And they suppressed us for a long time. And when I say us, because to the white man, I'm black. Yeah. I'm a woman of color.
Right.
Yeah. Regardless, my other side of my family are all white. Yeah. And, you know, none of my family members are like that.
Right.
So does it give me a bitter heart? No, because not everyone is like that.
Right.
And to me, it has resonated the whole world. It has penetrated the whole world for people to know that there are good people out there. There are good people that are standing on the front line and stamping out this racism, this deep hatred, this evil spirit of a murderous spirit to be taken out. I mean, this is global now. This has took over COVID-19.
Right.
Yeah. And people are angry, people are upset. You know, how dare you come and think you can stand behind a badge and manipulate and abuse your authority to something that you stood before when you started a job, took an oath to protect the citizens, for, you know, to you protect, you know, as a police officer. You know, in our days, we kind of looked up to the policeman. You know, they used to banter, play football with the kids. They're using their authority, and it's disgusting. It disgusts me. And the more videos I see, I mean, even just I refuse to watch them now, because it makes my heart so heavy. And I don't want to be a judger. I don't want to judge nobody. You know, all we need is justice. And every cop that has committed a crime and done what they've done, every one of them need to be sacked, taken to court, and justice needs to be done. And they need to be prisoned, because if it was the other way around,
Come on.
a public or any other human being, whether we say they could have been Asian, Chinese, white, or black. The reason why the whole subject is Black Lives Matters is because to them, they don't matter. We don't matter. They've made us lower than an animal because of the way they have treated our ancestors, our children, our uncles, our family members. There's no need. There are so much good people out there that are showing their love, and you can see it globally on the telly. And there's a handful of people that feel that they can still carry on this thing, this murderous spirit on them, and get away with it. And God's saying, no, you're not going to get away with it.
Right. I completely agree.
What do you think about it?
I haven't spoke on it because I don't know what to think. I don't think we're fully educated on everything that is happening. Because I'm like, okay, these are the questions that are running through my head. If we're all protesting, if we're all in these big, huge crowds, right out of quarantine, right out of COVID-19, why aren't the numbers of corona increasing?
Yeah, let me tell you about the gospel. It's all or nothing. Let me tell ya, he's gonna meet you at the crossroads, regardless of what you're saying. Yeah, they call me the Jesus freak, Bible and ting, yeah? So listen up. Shh, let me tell ya, if you're thinking of stepping up playing, you better just abort enemy. You try to make my mind distorted, but Jesus paid in full for me. He paid the price for me. He gave his life for me. Yo, he sacrificed for me. 1, 2, 3, many times for me. Pick up my cross, stand firm in it. Cast my burdens upon it. You call it the word in it. Living it, I'm breathing it. I'll meet you at the crossroads. 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 I got nothing but love for you. Let me shut my mouth a minute. Let the Holy Spirit lead it. Let me proceed with speed and let me feel it. Don't quit, let me see how you do this. I'm the firstborn. I'm blessed, never sorry, never torn. Hardcore. Watch me form when I transform. When I perform, souls are torn. Please don't mourn. I see you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you. Come as you are, come as you are. Yo, he's a narrow road, yo, he's a narrow road. Don't walk too broad, don't walk too broad. He's a narrow road, yeah, he's a narrow road, yeah. Not the Broadway, not the whole way, not the back door. It's a trap door, not the whole way, not the Broadway, not the back door. It's Yahweh. Soon, very soon, we're gonna meet the King, the Holy One, the righteous, the mighty one. No crying, no dying in this earthly scene. I praise God, Joe. Life be done, and if it's up to Him, I let me give it up. And if He says give it up, I just give it up. The kings of kings, the lords of lords, and when it's all said and done, I'll meet you at the crossroads. 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 I got nothing but love for you. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you.
Spiking up. Well, now you see, because
I'm confused.
that's the question you need to ask. And there's been a lot of that asking. You know, they're sorry, they're allowing everyone to go out. I don't agree with the vandalism and everything that's going on, but people are angry. That's why that is happening. You know, innocent blood has been shed. The reason why that has been happening. There's always, if you're going to do something, and there's always going to be a repercussion. Right. You know, you cannot feel that 4 police officers can be in such in agreement to do that evil act and be filmed and not have a heart. Right. This is someone's son. This is a father. This is someone's uncle. This could have been a member of our family. Right. George Floyd has impacted the whole world. Right. And I just think that God says enough. Mm-hmm. Many have gone before that, but it was just brushed under the carpet. Mm. Something happened with this. And I think COVID-19 was a part of it because people were at home. Mm-hmm. You know, imagine COVID-19 wasn't around. Would it have been such an impact?
It's true. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't want to say something and not be fully, I don't want to just talk and not fully know everything of what I'm saying. Because then it's like, I'm speaking foolishness instead of speaking wisdom. So that's why I feel like I haven't said anything. And I feel like a lot of people are just saying something to be saying it. Like they're not fully aware of what's going on. Yeah, social media is showing us this, TV is showing us this, but what's really going on? And the family, George Floyd's family is coming forth and stuff like that. Breonna Taylor and all these people that are coming forward, with their stories and stuff. I mean, it makes sense, but I just feel like I need to be more educated before I speak about.
That's a fair point. And to be fair, unless you have experienced racism, I have. I've experienced racism as growing up as a child and going to school, having my own business. I've been challenged and it's affected me. And that's why I can talk about it, because I've gone through it.
Right.
And it's nasty. It's evil. It sends a fear. And when someone else feels like they can suppress you and have such control over what they're saying and degrade you because they feel that you're nothing, there's a difference. Yes, people are touched by all of this that's happening, because when you look at Black history, there's not enough of it. There are a lot of Black inventors who done the radiators, the light bulbs, if you look back in history, but because it's been so covered up,
Right.
You have to do that research, you have to read to get the wisdom and knowledge. But then if you've had an experience and you've been affected by it, then you can stand. You stand. And everyone else is standing. Some people just don't get it, but they're still standing. They're standing with us because wrong is wrong.
True, it was wrong.
Sin is sin, and a murderer, I'm sorry, you blatantly murdered a man publicly, went viral, and it was live. I watched the man took his last breath, and to me, I witnessed the murder on my mobile phone. And I just, something needs to be done in the government. Show me your team, and let's change some of the team. Let's change some of the policies that's going on in this world, because it's not equal opportunity, Nae Nae. It's not an equal opportunity, and the older you get, you will experience that. The higher you climb up the ladder and be this entrepreneur, it starts to get even lonelier. You start to see the in your Facebook undercurrents, and this is where all that needs to be stamped out, because we have a right to, be successful and be on the same platforms.
Right.
We are talented and courageous people, and we've got nothing but love. Otherwise, over the years, we would have been starting World War 4 and 5. We're not. So, I hope this is a wake-up call to many, and I don't think it should bring on more racism. I think this is where the world is saying change needs to come, and it's got to happen.
Right. I agree. If they don't change after all this rioting and protesting, I don't know what's gonna make them change, honestly. Because it's like you said, it's global. It is, like, I thought it was just in America. Then I seen London. Then I seen Paris. I was like, this is everywhere. That this one incident has impacted nations. And I think, honestly, I mean, I know the situation's unfortunate, but it's like George Floyd's name will be forever in history. Forever, his legacy will live on even after this. Before nobody knew of George Floyd, then an incident happened. Yes, again, unfortunate, but he's living on. I think that's the crazy thing about it, and I think that's the thing people aren't understanding. They're like, George Floyd, this injustice. And I'm like, yeah, injustice, but do realize he still has a daughter on this earth. His legacy is gonna go through her. So he's always going to be remembered, and I think that's amazing.
It's going to be a beautiful thing because the whole world is going to watch her grow.
Right.
And, you know, people are going to sow into her life. They're going to pour. And, you know, it's, you know, for a life to be taken, for a legacy to be so powerful, it's moving the whole world.
Right.
And, you know, it's sad. It's really sad. And, you know, it's sad for many that have gone. But this one now has just been the changer.
Right.
It's like when Jesus come, he was a changer. He was a disruptor, you know. And I just think this now, George Floyd's death has changed, and it's gonna change, and it's gonna go down in history. And it's, you know, out of sad things come beautiful flowers. Something has to grow well from this, you know, and God has to be praised through all of this.
Right.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Look, I'm starting to get sad. So we're gonna change the topic.
Yeah.
We're going back into Dee Shy, the music part of Dee Shy. So what hurdles have you had to overcome in your music career?
Okay. Quite a lot. Just life, general. Keeping up with the pace, keeping up with being a family, holding everything together. Even when I had my own business, I was still doing the music. I think the one thing for me is making that decision to come to the Lord. When I fell asleep at the car wheel when I was driving home from work, and I crashed my car, ripped off my car, nearly ripped myself off. And lying there thinking that, you know what, you could be gone in any time. Challenging things in the music industry is, the frustrating part is trying to get somewhere and you can't. Doors are not opening. Wondering, saying, oh gosh, you know, shall I just give it up? And there was a time in before I released my album where my first album, not this single, where I was going to give it up and I was ready to put things down. And I remember coming into church one Sunday, and a pastor brought me to the front and they started praying for me. And he said to me, woman of God, you are so fearful of what God is going to do that you keep stepping back. But I hold you accountable because people's lives are in your belly, because you need to speak. And when you speak, it's not about your rapping. It's when you speak, because they need to hear, because you're going to pull them out, because the lifestyle that you've gone through or anything that you've gone through will help them. You know, you cannot give a testimony. You can't say, oh, I've passed my driving test if you haven't passed it. Right. Everyone passes their driving test, but they all have, oh, the provisional, or when you turn left, I'm no good at reversing. You know, to actually go through life experiences and say, it is well. And then you stand on stage and people think you've just arrived and they don't know your story.
Right.
But you're there worshiping and you're giving God the best you can in the midst of all that. And so someone is touched by the ministry and gives their life to the Lord. That same night when I had the car crash, I think it was 8 people gave their life to the Lord that night.
Wow.
I was sitting on a chair and they came down with a microphone and give me the mic. And I had to learn, I was doing a Spanish rap. Don't ask me to say it now. Do not. And it was the case. The testimony happened 3 days before I had the crash, and on the Saturday I rapped, and my staff came and dressed me for the show.
Wow.
Because my family thought, you are not going to no concert to perform. You've just come out of a car crash, you've got whiplash, everything. I didn't have not one broken bone, but my car was a write-off. I took out lampposts, everything. And the policeman said to me, he said, you are one lucky lady. Someone up there is definitely watching over you. because this morning would have been a different story. Your family would have been coming to a mortuary to be looking at you. And these are the things that you kind of weigh up, and you say, God, you've given me a second chance. So all these challenges are minor. Anything in life is minor. If you focus on God, you can come through all things. So is there anything challenging? Yeah, it's life, but it's how you deal with it. Yeah, you're going to know that, it doesn't matter how life and what storm throws at you, be prepared. If it's raining, wear your Wellington boots, wear your anorak, be equipped. Your daily devotion, your daily prayer, plan your day better. Some things you just can't control. You go with the flow.
Right.
What you can control, you deal with it. Yeah.
Like my mom always says, she'd be like, as soon as you wake up, put on your armor of God, then go about your day. Don't go about your day without your armor of God.
There you go. There you go. And that's a must, because the enemy's waiting. He's just waiting to get in.
Right. So what has been the best and worst decision you've made in your music career?
Yeah, let me tell you about the gospel. It's all or nothing. Let me tell you, he's gonna meet you at the crossroads, regardless of what you're saying. Yeah, they call me the Jesus freak, Bible and thing. Yeah, so listen up. Let me tell you, if you think of the stepping, I'm playing your bad, just a bull enemy. You try to make my mind distorted, but Jesus paid in full for me. He paid the price for me. He gave his life for me. Yo, he sacrificed for me. 1, 2, 3, many times for me. Pick up my cross, stand firm in it. Cast me burdens upon it. You call it the word, and it living it, I'm breathing it. I'll meet you at the crossroads.
A musician.
I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you. Let me shut my mouth a minute. Let the Holy Spirit lead it. Let me perceive the speed and let me feel it. Don't quit, let me see how you do this. I'm the firstborn. I'm blessed, never sorry, never torn. Hardcore. Watch me form when I transform, when I perform. Souls are torn. Please don't mourn. I see you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you. Come as you are, yo. He's a narrow road, yo. He's a narrow road. Don't walk too broad, don't walk too broad. He's a narrow road, yeah. He's a narrow road, yeah. Not the Broadway, not the whole way, not the back door. It's a trap door, not the whole way, not the Broadway, not the back door. Hit your way. Soon, very soon, we're gonna meet the King, the Holy One, the righteous, the mighty one. No crying, no dying in this earthly scene. I praise God, Joe. Life be done, and if it's up to Him, let me give it up. And if He says give it up, I just give it up. The kings of kings, the lords of lords, and when it's all said and done, I'll meet you at the crossroads. 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 I got nothing but love for you. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you.
Enjoy it.
I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you.
Just be courageous.
I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads. I got nothing but love for you.
So, what would you tell a young person who's wanting to rap or wanting to be in ministry, or they don't even have to be a young person, an older person that's wanting to get into ministry and get into rapping? What advice would you give them?
Does it have to be rapping or anything? Because it could be their gift.
Right.
Okay. My advice is to follow your heart. Yeah. Seek God. Because you could be doing something which is your permissive will. You really have to know that God is sending you in that place. Because when you're sent by God, things are easy, doors open. And I would encourage anyone, if you've got a dream and you've got a desire that you want to do, pray about it, write the vision down, and keep looking at it. Have it written on a piece of paper and put it up in your room. Visually, you need to see it every day, so it comes into play. It starts to manifest in front of you every day. You say, I don't know, Nae Nae. You may say, well, I want to drive this year. Yeah. I don't know if you've passed your test. Have you passed your test?
I have not taken it.
Okay, okay. I'm going to give you as an example. So if there's a young person and they're, you can't go out and do ministry if you can't drive.
Right.
Okay. Your first point of call is to learn how to drive, because if your family members are not there, or they're busy, or they're on tour, you need to learn to drive yourself.
Right.
There's things that you can do, and don't put things off. I'm going to tell you this: do not procrastinate and put things off. And then, it would have been a shoulda, coulda, woulda. At least you can say, I did it and I did it well. It may not have gone to plan,
Right.
but that experience will grow you. That experience will develop you as a beautiful young lady, or a young man. And I think it's a life coach learning skills. So if there's any young or mature or however, and you have given up on your dream, let me tell you something. You need to go back. You need to get back on your knees, and you need to ask God, because you'll never be complete. You'll always be wondering, what if I should have just continued through this journey? And you've failed yourself. You've let down yourself. God's never given up on you. He's just waiting for you to pick back up the bat.
Come on.
So don't give up on your dreams. If there's someone listening out there, don't give up on your dreams. My fire is supposed to ignite your fire. Your fire is supposed to ignite someone else.
Right.
It's like a Holy Ghost chain of firing. So you must make it your duty to complete what you came here for. We're here for one time. You hit the ground running, and when you soar, that you're flying to a high altitude, people will say, wow, that's a legacy. Because when we're gone, we're gone.
Right. I agree. Wow. Wow, I'm speechless.
Do what you're supposed to do. Don't give up. Keep plowing. Regardless of your fears, God will make room.
Amen. So, is there anything else you'd like to say to the people before we end this episode? I'm gonna cry.
Why?
Because
explaining why. I want to know why, because every time me and you talk, you get emotional. And I do believe, there's something that you're birthing, and you always need a midwife to encourage you. And all I'm going to say to you, it is well. It is well. Be bold and courageous, Nae Nae. And don't look at people's faces. Yeah. Because if you look, you lose that momentum. You haven't got time for that.
Right.
You need to focus on God, and you stay focused. That's the key. The blessings will overtake you.
Right.
But when you stay devoted to God, I'm telling you now, all things work together for God's glory. So wipe your eyes. Don't let no tears come. I just think it's a beautiful season, despite what is happening.
I agree.
And there's room to do a lot of stuff. And I can't wait to see you blossom, you catapult, you soar, you fly. And then we can say, wow. We can sit back and say, wow. Yeah.
Right. I was telling my mom the other day, I was like, even though I'm not dating anybody, I was like, oh, I'm going to send, I was like, I'm going to send wedding invitations.
What? I was going to say to you, when you was on about cooking, I was going to say, well, maybe you're just getting prepared for your husband because you got to learn to cook.
Right.
But, God will reveal that to you. And, it's, you're going by faith. And, one thing I know is that you have to be so specific with God. And sometimes it's what you think is good for you. God's saying no.
Right. I agree.
All in the season, girl.
Right. I told my mom, I was like, Dee Shy gotta come because she gotta bring her chicken to America. And my mom, she was like, so you're gonna invite Dee Shy over here for your wedding for chicken?
Okay,
I
yeah.
say, no, not just chicken. She's gonna cook the whole thing. I was like, yeah, we gotta make this a thing.
Okay. I don't know if you've heard of Dee Shy's Catering. You know, I love cooking, and I remember one lady prophesied over me. She says, Dee, you're going to have your own catering company. So, you know, I love food and I love people to enjoy it. And you know what? It would be an honor to cook and serve. And that's a beauty. Yeah.
Well, I'm just
So
gonna
you just set the day. You better make sure I got a good team.
right. So thank you
Okay.
so much, Dee Shy, for coming on my show and talking and chit chatting and sipping tea. Even though I don't got no tea today because my mouth is kind of hurting. But thank you so much for coming and chatting with me. It's been a pleasure. Like I said before, we've been trying to record this. You came to America, we tried to record it. Sound wasn't working. I went to the UK. For some reason, we didn't record it. So, you know, quarantine came and I was like, yeah, this is the perfect time. You know, she's there.
Yes.
Let's get her now. So thank you so much for coming.
You're most welcome. And be blessed and say hello. I send my love to the family. And, you know, just keep doing what you're doing because you're moving. It's a movement. It's a kingdom building movement. So be blessed and I'll meet you at the crossroads.
Period. So, so remember, nobody can be you. So be the best version of you. Period, Pooh. And we're gonna leave you on a good note. Toots.
Steadily changing, it's making me better. I'm turning a new thing, it's making me stronger. Yeah, yeah. Christ is in my life, oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah, Christ is in my life, oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Ooh, wow, I can understand. You're a perfect man. Got the whole world in your hands, but you still reaching out for me. Ooh, wow, why you love me too? I'm nothing like you. Opposite of holiness was what I was, but until you see my soul and couldn't see why. Held my hand high, cause you see I